Yeah. So before that game, I was thinking if we come away with a draw, I'll be happy because Brighton have been performing very very well, and I was almost expecting a draw. Uh, but after that first half, I was really thinking, wow, we've lost this game by a lot of goals. We underperformed massively. There were certain players that I'll talk about soon that I just felt were quite lackluster and didn't have that composure and a cutting edge that you really need in the Premier League. Second half though, wow, what a second half we had. I was absolutely baffled by the difference in play between the first and second half. And we've done that a couple times this season already, where first half we've underperformed massive. The Aston Villa game is a perfect example of it. Underperformed massively first half, and then second half we came out with 3 goals. Second half of today's game, we only came out with 1 goal, but I think we were very unlucky, and I do think Brighton's goalkeeper deserves a lot of plaudits considering the fact that we didn't score any more goals than we did. I think he had a good game. So overall, I'm happy. I want us to be able to keep up that same level of ability as we did the second half through first and second half in every game. If that's not too difficult to understand. But yeah, I'm quite happy with how we performed. Really, I could give ratings for every single player in our 11 twice. One for the first half, one for the second half, because they're totally different players, a lot of them. Nick Pope didn't really have much to do the entire game. When he did have stuff to do, we were there. We were confident. It was just that goal that it was a disappointing goal to concede, but these things happen in football. In fact, talking about that goal, let's talk about that. Defenders wise, James Tarkowski, he should have been on top of Lewis Dunk there. He's one of their biggest aerial threats, if not their biggest aerial threat, and he's just allowed him to come in front of him and header it. And the corner just prior to that, James Tarkowski did exactly what we wanted him to do for that second one. He got in front of Lewis Dunk, he jumped high, he headed it out. So it's disappointing to know that James Tarkowski knows how to do that, and we've seen him do it plenty of times anyway, but to see him doing that first and then losing out on the second corner, it was disappointing, but what can you do? Ben Mee, I was worried about Ben Mee first half. Second half, I think he was perfectly fine. First half, like a lot of players, he was very erratic. He did a lot of things that you wouldn't want him to do. He looked on edge, as I say, as did a lot of our players. Matt Loughton, I'd be hard pressed not to give him my man of the match, because he was on a different level, even in the first half. First half through the second half, in the chances we had, Matt Loughton was at the epicenter of the first half. Second half, I think Dwight and Eric Peters picked it up a little bit, which they didn't have the first half. They didn't have that same level. But wow, Matt Loughton, once again, I'll probably keep saying it every single new review, that man is our unsung hero. I do not care. He has been absolutely excellent for us this season, and even today, attacking wise, defensively, perfect. I couldn't tell you a single thing he did particularly wrong today. I think he was brilliant. So my man of the match, Eric Peters. First off, similar to Ben Mee, quite erratic, went into challenges too much, just wanted to get the ball out or pass it back to the defence when we're on the attack. And I think that's been a problem for him quite a lot this season, and we are missing Charlie Taylor a lot. No doubt about that. But hopefully when Charlie Taylor comes back, we can really start building on that and use our left-hand side like we know our left-hand side can be used. But second half, he was perfectly fine. His shot on goal in the second half came to our goal with Gudmundsson. So second half, I can't really say I was too displeased with him, and I think a lot of the time his general play was good. He passed the ball well. He was very composed, and that's what you wanted to see from him, considering how the first half went. Midfield wise, Dwight McNeil. it's difficult to really say Dwight McNeil ever really has a bad game because he is a big spark of creativity. And he started, I think, around the 70th minute sort of time, he started drifting centrally, and he looked very, very good central. And I could be wrong, but I believe in his youth days he used to play as a central attacking midfielder. So that could be why he performs well there. But he did very, very well. There was a little passage of play between him and Vidra. He passed it into Vids passed it back to him, and then he passed it back to Vidra, and it looked very impressive. Didn't come off with anything, but it looked impressive, and it was impressive, considering that we are considered, Brexit Burnley. We don't have skillful players. We don't know how to do these things. But I was very impressed with Dwight. Right hand side, Jarnberg Gudmundsson. I think he had an excellent game. He's been very quiet recently in certain games, and he's dropped off, and he's not looked himself. But this is the Jarnberg Gudmundsson today that we watched. This was the Jarnberg Gudmundsson that we've been needing for a long time, and hopefully he can stay away from injuries now, because he's built something there. He's built a very good little foundation for almost a second career, I suppose you could say, considering his injury problems. So it'd be nice to see Jarnberg Gudmundsson get that drive again. Just push it and I don't know, hit your prime again, please, Gudmundsson. That would be very, very much appreciated. Centre midfield wise, Ashley Westwood, similar to Matt Loughton. I rarely really see him do anything wrong. He's a solid good player. I can't really say anything other than that. He's just a good solid player, and I was pleased with him. I was very pleased with Ashley Westwood, as I am every game, really. Moving over to the left of midfield though, with Jack Cork, he's the only one I can really say I do want Josh Brownhill back. Before this game, I saw a lot of comments of people saying we need Josh Brownhill back, we don't want Jack Cork. And I was thinking, nah, give him a chance. I think Corky's a good player. And he certainly is a good player. He proved that against Man City. He looked well in the midfield. But first half, he didn't really do anything. Second half, disappeared again. He almost had the Jeff Hendrick effect of a couple seasons back, where he might pop up at one point to do something good, but then other than that, he was just there, and he was just there, and you couldn't really understand why he was there and what he was doing. But perhaps that was just because in the second half we were attacking a lot more, and because he's a defensive midfielder, we didn't see him up top. I don't know. He had a chance on goal. I think it was the first half. It might have been the second, but I think it was the first half. Yeah, he had a chance on goal, and it was there for him. And you'd think with the experience that man has in the Premier League, you'd have thought he's just going to pop this one, even on target. Doesn't have to go in, on target. And he just fired it over the bar, and it was disappointing to see. Come in. Yeah, it was disappointing to see. Sorry about that. These are the things that happen when you're a Burnley fan. Yeah, so Jack Cork, he was fine, but he just ghosted the game a lot. And in games like this, that extra player who could have added, such as a Josh Brownhill, that extra player who could have added the extra bit of attacking prowess, we could have come away with a win. Similarly, though, we could have come away with a loss, and we could have conceded more. You don't know with hindsight. As much as you should know with hindsight, you never know. Attacking wise, I think Deitch chose the right players up top today. I think even if Wood was free today, I wouldn't have wanted him. Say with Jay Rodriguez, I think Deitch was right to not make any changes at all, because those two up top, Vidra and Barnes, they had a very, very impressive game. Barnes' hold-up play was excellent today. He made a few very impressive, incisive passes, which a lot of people don't associate with him. He was trying his hardest to get into those second balls. Unfortunately, he's a bit slow, I suppose the word you could say. He's a bit slow, and he can't get there. But his mind's in the right place. He's a positive man when it comes to the attack. And as I say, his hold-up play, he did very, very well. He kept the ball well, and passed it out when he needed it to. There were certain times where you thought, "Oh, Barnes, what are you doing there?" But other than that, I don't think I could have faulted him. Vidra, wow, Vidra. I've been saying for a while, like, he's a good player, but I've never really wanted him in front of Barnes, Wood, and Jay Rodriguez. But Matej Vidra today, and recently, I must add, Matej Vidra just, I can't actually even bring into words. I can't explain just how good he was today. he was up against a centre-back partnership of who? Ben White, Lewis Dunk, and the other defender does not come to mind right now. But they're a big set. And he won a lot of those headers coming over from Nick Pope. He won a lot of those headers. And it just goes to show that he really does have heart in this game, and he really wants to prove to Dyche that he deserves his place in the squad. And recently, he's really been proving he deserves to be in this squad. He came out with some very impressive runs. He was offside a couple of times. Very impressive runs. Some of his passing was just gorgeous. He was all over the place up top. He can't fault him in any way. The only thing that I really wish he was able to do is just, well, I wish he was able to do. I wish he was a little bit more clinical with his finishing. He was offside a couple of times. He had chances. And whether or not your attacker's off or onside, you want to see them putting it away just for that sort of release of, all right, if they are onside, I'm confident they can at least do something here. But he kicked it at the keeper. There was a chance, very close. Yeah. There's a chance very, very close that he probably should have scored, but the keeper did well once again. So overall, I'm really quite happy with how the game's gone. I would have liked 3 points after that second half, but after that first half, I would have liked 1 point. So I think 1 point is good. I haven't seen the Newcastle Southampton score, but I believe it was 3-1 at half time, so I'll have to have a look at that after this. But nothing will have changed at all, I don't believe, in the table. We're now 9 points ahead of Fulham. If we can beat Fulham on the 17th, I think it is, I think we're fine. I think we'll be staying up. Because that'll be a 12-point gap. No teams will have any games in hand. So I think overall, today was a good game, and we showed heart, we showed desire, and we showed ability. And that's what I wanted to see more than anything. Because the last 2 games have been very poor, and we just haven't really shown what we can do. So yeah, thanks very much. UTC, come on you Clarets, on to the next one.